scored 5.
They did score
I
5.
turned it off when it was like 8-0. I was like, all right, well, I'm going up.
Well, we are live, and since we just don't, we kind of gave a little bit of a tidbit. Welcome
Oh,
into our
hey,
game one reactions.
right. Well, yeah. Thanks for throwing me off in the middle of my sentence. Anyway, welcome back to the Legends Clubhouse. Legends Clubhouse. It's a hump day. It's
It
Wednesday.
is a hump day.
Uh, as always, I am Bobby, Mr. Hump, Kaboose. Um, as always, with my partner in crime over here, Lawson underscore Turner. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
How
So
did
hold
you get
on.
a middle name as underscore?
I don't know. It just kind of it was like not to put my whole government spiel out there, but like it was between underscore or O'Neill, so we went with underscore.
Oh, nice. Because
Yeah.
yeah, it was probably just a typo on your birth certificate or something, and
I
you're like,
mean,
oh, I call him Lawson underscore Turner. You know,
it kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
it does.
Yeah, it does.
Um, it
But
does indeed.
mhm.
So, yeah, man, the MLB playoffs kicked off yesterday.
Mhm.
It's funny, I kept seeing like or thinking, their whole slogan is like "Hunt for October." Couldn't they just wait a day, like so they actually play in October for the playoffs in the first game, or
I didn't even think
you
about
know,
that. That's a great point.
it's like September 30th. They couldn't wait just one more day. But anyway,
Mhm.
we're playing October baseball in September. Great day for the Tigers, man.
I'm gonna give you the floor for this first, however long you want to go, cause it's your
Dude,
team and the Scooby Man, as I call him, or he's damn near if you're a Marvel fan or if you're just a film, anything about Marvel, he's basically just Thanos.
yeah, dude. He
Like
takes your ring, dude. He's like, give me your power. Give me your power.
he's
Dude,
incredible.
I mean, a career high in strikeouts, 14. Absolutely dominating the Cleveland Guardians. I mean, like even the run that he gave up it was somewhat of a cheap run. Like it was a typical playoff like, oh my God, this is how the ball bounces play, or a couple plays. I mean, he
Mhm.
had an infield single, then he walks the guy, and then another infield single that is a chopper over his head, and the guy scores from second because it's so high and so slow that
Yeah.
he's able to in underneath the tag, which was called out first, and
Mhm.
I seen, you see the pic on Twitter of like, basically like no one, and then he goes, the runner is out by the ump, like, and you see his hand like clearly in there, and he's like staring at it. So obvious safe calls, like this is
Mhm.
going to be overturned. But man, I know the regular season is over,
But
but any voters for the Cy Young Award need to look at this performance. I get it's a regular season award, but
mhm.
shit, dude, just fucking put that in there too. Add that to the resume. Absolutely dominating. And he's dominated Cleveland all year, which I'm actually surprised because most recent events, we got basically we went like 1-5 against Cleveland in the last couple weeks.
Mhm.
I didn't know that the Tigers, like the season's so long that the record against Cleveland was actually 5-8, so they weren't terrible during the regular season against Cleveland. I thought it was way more one-sided, but
Mhm.
they only got 3 more victories than the Tigers in the head-to-head matchup. But Scooble has absolutely dominated the Guardians this year. In 4 regular season starts, he had a .64 ERA. I think he had like 40 strikeouts and only 2 earned runs. Like,
Bro's just a
so,
freak.
I was telling you on Monday, unfortunately, Cleveland has been, our daddy, or have owned us since eliminating us from the playoffs last year. But I may have misspoke. I think Cleveland's daddy is wearing number 29 on the Detroit Tigers because he absolutely owned them, spanked them, punished them, grounded them, and now we're looking at one more game until the ALDS. I believe we had a series lead against Cleveland last year and blew it.
Hmm.
So I'm not counting my chickens yet before they get back to the farm. But you know, we just need to win one more game. We need this series and we need to move on.
Yeah, it was really interesting too, even over the course of, once again, over the past 2 weeks, because they played. It's funny how the MLB regular season unwinds due to, okay, the Tigers on this historical collapse, and then they got to play the Guardians twice in
Hmm.
two different series, and even in that game where Scooble started, where he ended up giving up, I think it was 3 runs in like the sixth or fifth or whatever it was, the ball never left the infield.
Right.
It's like that. The only run that he gave up, it was just a. It was so funny because it was, once again, just a little chopper that immediately hit off the infield, and I swear it shot 90 feet up in the air because it
Yeah.
was just hanging for so damn long. And right when Scooble turned and flicked it, I feel like, once again, if the throw could have been ever so slightly better, maybe, but it was a great slide and a great tag. When it comes
It was like
to.
a hit, it was like a hit with off of like I don't know if you've ever seen clips of the old I believe it was called the Sky Dome in Toronto
Mhm.
where they had the turf and it was basically concrete and
Yeah.
dudes could just fucking chop it and it would just ding and like go
Correct.
fucking like 100 feet in the air.
Mhm.
But yeah, man, and then the um the Will Vest play with Jose Ramirez at
I
third
was gonna get into
in the
that. Yeah.
I mean, you know, ninth inning, leadoff hitter Jose Ramirez hits. It was technically a single, but there's a play at first that bounces off of him and goes into the outfield. He gets to third base, and I'm like, well, here it comes. Like, here's we're at least going to extras, and we blew a Scooble start, but. I don't know what happened to the batter after him. I think he might have struck it out.
Yeah, he struck out.
Um, Okay, so he struck out, and then the next batter, I don't know why. I guess he left on contact, but he was dead in the water, man. Like, I mean, it was unfortunately for the Guardians, it rolled right back to Will Vest.
Mhm.
Not a strong hit, but like, I mean, he was in no man's land. I get if you're putting on like a suicide squeeze or a safety squeeze or something like that, but like shit, dude, like this was just a normal swing, and unfortunately, it went right back to the pitcher, and they were able to run him down and
Mhm.
basically save the game because of that. I mean, guy on third, less than 2 outs, you got to get him home, dude, and
Dude,
two guys weren't able to.
we're gonna get into another game later that it's gonna come down to, once again, a bottom of the ninth, runners on base situation. But I don't know if the third base got in Jose's ear and said, "Hey, contact, go,"
Right,
because he's had, what, 3 straight 30-30 seasons.
something like
So
that.
so it's not due to lack of speed, or it just like the Scooble. The only run Scooble gave up was the little infield chopper that went 70 feet up in the air. It's just the way the ball rolls. Like, if that
Mm,
ball's hit ever so slightly, maybe it goes up the third base line.
right.
But it
Well,
was
yeah.
just an unfortunate
Look at
thing that it
the
just goes right
Tigers'
back to the.
second run
Yeah.
with Zach McKinstry playing small ball, fucking just bunting the guy home. Like it was like, dude, we've dealt with years of Terry Francona as the manager of the Guardians, and he will manage his small ball at times, and like, dude, like it felt like, okay, we just small balled the shit out of the small ballers, and
Yeah.
and I don't know if that was an AJ Hinch call, if Zach McKinstry just did it on his own, but it was brilliant. I mean, the guys were played back. It was
Hmm.
it was perfectly executed. It got us the lead, and Scooble and Vest were able to shut them down. It wasn't pretty, but it works, man. Victory is a victory is a
Hmm.
victory. So I'll take it, and especially after for a game one in a 3-game series, man, you just got to squeak that out, and
Yeah.
that again, that's my point of not valuing the just being able to put the ball in play, dude. Like you never know what's gonna happen, and yesterday was proof on both ends. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the bunt and the little chopper, dude. Like neither of them, everything was in the infield. Like it's like okay, and even Torkelson's RBI in the first was just a jam job, and he muscled it past the infielder and
Mm-hmm.
was able to score Kerry Carpenter from second. So, you put the ball in play, good things can happen.
Yeah, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Could this now once again does a clutch big time performance and win like this, will it propel them to the World Series? No. But could you see this being the spark of holy shit guys for the 17 different moments in which we could have clinched, the division and things like that to where you essentially gave it up? Could this be like a re-snatching of momentum because it was apparent to me, especially in the first inning when you guys scored first, and it is I think you guys were dead last in stolen bases, but you were one of the better teams when it comes to just getting extra bases, whether,
Yeah.
singles into doubles or, going from, runners from first to third, second to home, and you saw on it got rolled to air, but Kerry Carpenter like rounding first, and then the second he sees the ball get away, I'm about to
Mm.
sprint to second, and it was so funny because right when he was about to when he was about to turn second, I was like, if the ball's still deeper in the outfield, he might turn and try and go for three.
Right. Well, no, absolutely. It spark something. See, the biggest to me with this whole collapse thing and shit, like I think
Mm-hmm.
the worst thing that this Tigers team could have faced was a first round bye.
Mm-hmm.
Um because if you're playing like shit and then you have a week off, it can go either two ways. You can
Right.
either be, forget about everything, which, baseball players have to be resilient as far as, a lot of the game is mental because a lot of the game is failure. Um, or, it could just steamroll into like, okay, we haven't been playing good baseball. We have a week off. Now we're getting cold as far as like just our timing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, just getting steamrolled by a team that had just gotten through the wild card. So I think this was probably the best scenario as far as like getting into the playoffs, winning the first game, getting that confidence up. You're playing a division rival who's owned you the last couple weeks and eliminated you last year, so there's a little bit more, fire under your ass, and it's and you got the best pitcher in baseball pitching the first game, so
Mm-hmm.
they did everything that they needed to do yesterday. They squeaked out a win. Now they just need to win one of two, but I think if they would have gotten that first round bye, I think they would have probably gotten swept by whatever team came out of the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Just because that having that time off, you have like a week to a week and a half of just marinating in your regular season,
Right.
right? And obviously you can try to forget about it. Obviously you can scout the other team that's they're the two teams that you might be potentially playing and shit, but that's always going to be in the back of your mind if you're not playing the game. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the best case scenario is what happened, man. You get into the wild card. Yeah, you're not, you didn't win the division. Yeah, you don't have home field advantage, but you got the best pitcher in baseball. You went out and you won the game. You did what you were supposed to do, and now you got Casey Mize here on game two, who's gotta impress. We always talk about Nerfies. We don't fucking care about records, but he's got an impressive record. He's like 14-5. He's got like a 3.8 ERA or so. Let's go. Let's finish it off
Mm-hmm.
and move on to the next one.
it it's going to be super intriguing to see because Mize, to me, especially in the first inning and a half, you can kind of get a feel if he's got, if his pitches are on.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so to me, it was, and for as great as Scooble was, and he was, by far the best pitcher that pitched yesterday. Him and Garrett Crochet, who, they're both playing tug of war for the Cy Young. Um,
Yeah.
and I know you being a Tigers fan, I still want to tip my cap to Gavin Williams. I thought he was excellent
Mhm.
yesterday. Like
Oh yeah. He played.
even though he gave up the 2 runs, none of them were earned.
No.
And for someone who led the leagues in who led the MLB in the regular season in walks, he's been damn good in his last 3 starts, all against a divisional opponent like the Tigers are.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like he let up 2 runs on, probably 4 or 5 hits. I
Hmm.
mean, the Tigers didn't have many hits. So yeah, absolutely. It was a pitcher's duel. It was probably, if you didn't have any skin in the game, or if you were a casual baseball fan, it was probably somewhat of a boring game to watch.
Hmm.
Unless you were on Scuba Watch and you're like, man, this guy is, buzzing down, these motherfuckers like, they're little leaguers. Um, then yeah, it was probably a boring game to watch. But for
Hmm.
me and for people of Detroit, like I think it was super exciting. Obviously you see your dude up there, hurling and we I even made the comment, to somebody because they're like, we better get used to, Scooble because he might be gone, after next year. And I was like, shit, like this, like, because he was like, someone was like, oh, I came to see, maybe Scooble's final start of the year. I go, this might, motherfucker, this might be Scooble's last start as a Tiger. Like, it's well, for real. Like, if
Right.
I was Detroit, because they obviously know they're usually, they're on, they probably know, they probably talk to his agent, whatever. They probably have a good idea if he's going to sign with a team after next year.
Hmm.
Next year's the last year he's under control. But if he's not, you got to consider trading him in the offseason because you're going to get a lot more at the winter meetings for Scooble than you are at the deadline next year. So,
Right.
do you want to have him on the team next year and ride it out and try to, it's either, I think you either get rid of him at the winter meetings or you ride it out with him. So,
Hmm.
I think that it would be a waste to trade him at the deadline unless you're way out of contention. But, as the Guardians and as the Tigers showed last year and the Guardians this year, that, even if you're sellers at the deadline, you can still make a run and you can still, you know, have a less than 1% chance and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, and before we move games and stuff like that, what was your take on the broken camera? Cause that was awesome.
Ooh, that was sweet. So it reminded me of myself. So I'll tell you this little story. This little story.
Hold
But
on,
no, it was
before your story, if you didn't if you missed it, it was, I think Scuba was pitching to a right-handed hitter. It might have been a Big Christmas, whoever it was. Um, and it's a chipper foul back, and it goes right off the bat, straight back to the camera that's behind home plate, that's like in the stands, and it's
yeah.
just if you close your eyes and if you're an ASMR person, it's like, oh, it was just the perfect sound of broken glass, like it was just
If,
boom,
if you
chink,
if you close if you closed your eyes, you thought Stone Cold was coming out.
for real.
Um, like I was like, shit, dude, Austin's here. He's gonna fucking stun everyone, dude. Like just coming out, flipping people off, fucking like people are throwing him cups of beer and shit, and he's just fucking stunning everyone. That would be
Yeah,
awesome. They need a baseball wrestling
co-
matchup mix up.
that'd be funny.
But anyway,
Hmm.
so years ago I played in a Oktoberfest type tournament. So like teams would dress up like in different themes and things like that. And our team theme was the 80s. So I had a huge clock on my around my neck,
Hmm.
like Flavor Flav, and the clock to put it around my neck because it was too heavy for like just like a piece of string or or a rope. So I got one of those like metal or steel dog chains, right, or a dog leash, and I
Right.
put it around and attached the clock so it would be secure. And so I'm in the outfield and it's fine. It's a little annoying running around with it because like I have to like the clock is so big that I have to like hold it while I field the ball or something. So my first at bat, I come up to the plate and pitcher pitches it and I swing and I foul it off. Well, my clock fell like immediately off my chain and it hit the ground, and I thought it was a plastic covering, but it was glass. I got the clock at fucking Salvation Army, and so it was glass, and it shattered all over home plate. And the just looked at me and was like, "Really, guy?" And I was like, "Look," I go, "I didn't know it was glass. I thought it was plastic." And when the clock hit the ground, uh, it rolled away,
when the
and the
clock
glass
strikes
just stood there.
12.
Yes, when the clock struck 12 and hit the ground, and the pumpkin turned back, or the carriage turned back into a pumpkin,
It
all the
rolled
glass
away.
was just there. Yeah, and it rolled away.
That's so
And
funny.
yeah, so the ump wasn't very happy with me, and we had to, similar to yesterday, they had to get the broom out and sweep all the glass up so none of us got hurt. But it was like
So
a
funny.
10-minute delay in our softball game, and everyone's like, "The fuck, man."
You're like, bro, I was too into character. My bad.
I'm like, "My bad, dude. My clock fell." But anyway, yeah, broken glass, dude. I thought, like I said, I thought Stone Cold was coming out. That would have been awesome if he gave fucking Scooble the double bird and like stunned him, and then like got in his face and yelled at him, and then walked away, and then they set up Scooble versus Austin in WrestleMania,
That'd be
or Scooble versus Austin at the World Series, even better.
That'd have been so funny. Now to transition
World
to
Series Palooza,
ML Palooza.
ML Palooza, yeah, MLP, Major League Palooza.
Right. To transition to a game that I thought would be a lot more high scoring than it was. The Cubs edged out the Padres after back-to-back home runs in the 5th inning. Nick Pivetta, even if you look at like he did give up, I think he gave up all 3 runs. He struck out 9 in his 5 innings. But yeah, dude, it really, I was surprised as to how the Cubs looked for as young as they are, because the Padres, they're a more established team. They have a lot of names, from your Tatis to your Machado. Arias is one of the hardest batters to strike out. They have a good enough pitching staff, but I was impressed as to how the young Cubs looked.
This is the one series that I have, like,
No interest.
Not no interest. I don't know anything about either team. Like, I don't pay attention to either team.
Mm-hmm.
So even, I put out an article yesterday about like intriguing storylines in Major League Baseball, and this is the only series that I didn't really touch. Because like I said, I don't know much about it.
Mm-hmm.
I do know at one point the San Diego Padres, I believe like all 8 position players were former shortstops at one point.
Which is kind of
And
insane.
it's insane. My buddy actually pointed that out. He's like, "Do you realize that they're like every single one of them played shortstop at one point?" And I'm like, you have a super athletic fucking fielding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how that will turn out, but they're super athletic. But no, so the Padres are up 1-0.
They're down 1-0.
Or down 1. Cubs won.
Yeah, Cubs won.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, the Cubs
Cubs
won 3-1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cubs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much to say on this. It was a genuine, like, I was expecting this game. You have a, in quotations, a pitcher friendly park at Wrigley. That the wind can turn almost off and on like a light switch.
Yeah.
There were a couple balls that especially early in the game, the flyouts got a little deeper, and whenever a ball is hit in the outfield and semi deep, whole crowd for the most part, they'll stand up, like, oh, is it coming my way? And nope, it just dropped right in front of whether it be PCA or insert random infielder that played. But I don't really have anything other than it would be it. I would love to see the Padres win today. Dylan Cease has had a up and down year, and once again, a game 3 is it's a game 3 winner take all match, But with the
I feel like we're talking about the WNBA Finals, Game 3.
Well, yeah, I was
It
gonna say
it used to be best of 3.
Yeah,
when I saw the Detroit Shock take down the LA Sparks back in 2004.
Yeah,
or
and
whatever year.
it's actually funny you brought it up because the Vegas Aces beat the Indiana Fever last night in Game 5 to reach the WNBA Finals. So that starts on Friday. But digress.
Indiana Fever got that far?
Yeah, without Caitlin Clark, yeah.
Snap. All right. Anyway, no one cares.
Snap, crackle,
But
pop.
hey, so the year it's 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're fucking with things that are out of our control because Back to the Future 2, he goes into the future and it's 2015, not 2025, 10 years later, but the Cubs win the World Series. The Cubs ended up winning the World Series in 16. In 15, they were the most bet on team to win the World Series due to the movie, due to Biff getting that sports almanac and him seeing that the Cubs were going to win in 2015. So I wouldn't be surprised if you put a little bit of dough on the Cubs to win the World Series this year. Maybe they were just off by a decade. I know they were off by a year, but maybe they were off by a decade because of that 25 to that 15. Maybe instead of 1985, they originated in 1995. They were all just one decade off. Maybe they go back in time to 1965. Instead of 55, and then maybe in the third one they go to 1865 instead of 1855. So, maybe we're off by, 10 years. So if, you believe in Biff Tannen and movie magic, maybe, the only thing is they can't beat Miami in the World Series. So that's who they beat in the movie. And so,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. We'll see. If we'll see if there's some weird old man millionaire or washing a car that sees his younger self and gives him an almanac. So just watch out for that.
Mm-hmm.
In your area and mine, and if you're out there watching, watch for that in your area. If you see an old man washing his car or washing a neighbor's car, and then it looks like he is talking to a version of his younger self, be aware. Be very aware. And make sure he doesn't have a little magazine in his hand.
Be very aware. Now, to go on to this is the definition of why the Yankees over the past couple of years just haven't been like they are a boomer bust feast or famine team. And to set the stage, Red Sox up 3-1, bottom of the ninth.
Yep.
Yankees hit 3 straight singles, bases loaded, nobody out. However, you have the closer of the past. What would you say Chapman is over the past 12 years? One of the best closers over
I mean, he's at Clayton Kershaw status, right? Like he is a generational defiant definition of an era closer, right?
yeah.
Like he is probably the best closer in this era. Just like Clayton Kershaw is, probably top 3 pitchers of the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
you see that big lefty coming, he's throwing gas. He can still throw gas, and then he can fuck you up with some off speed and make you look silly. So,
mm-hmm.
pick your poison with Chapman, and most likely you're gonna have to be hitting on a drum or something to make sure that you know which pitch is coming, or have like a little signaling device attached to you.
Yeah, a buzzer. But after 3 straight singles, you're down 2, bases loaded, nobody out. Strikeout, fly out to right, and Paul Goldschmidt's on first, so there's no play at the plate. And then you strike
You mean
out.
third?
What'd I say? On second?
First. You said on first.
Oh, Goldschmidt on third because he was the leadoff. It went genuinely single, single, single. He's on third.
Well, don't okay. Riddle me this:
Mm-hmm.
would you take Goldschmidt out?
Yes.
I would have too. I would have, as
It,
soon as he got the second, I would have taken him out.
it makes no sense to me as to I understand he's your leadoff hitter, but even if we force extras or we could pull this thing out because the bases are loaded and we're only down 2. It amazes me as to the lack of managing by Aaron Boone because once again after loading the bases, no outs, you go strike out, fly out to right, and then strike out again. And it's really interesting to me. So Max Fried, they sent Max Fried back out into the seventh on 99 pitches to let him get the lefty-lefty matchup against Duran. You have a pitch on the opposite side named Garrett Crochet. He went 117 pitches.
Yeah.
And they pulled Max Fried after his 102nd pitch after the ground out to Duran. So at least they didn't overwork him for his next start in March, because this shit's almost a wraps. If you
Yeah.
have a dominant pitch that Max Fried is and was this year, like he was one of the an above average pitcher this year,
Hmm.
it makes me laugh for the simple fact of why not ride your guy through the seventh? Because you saw the Tigers earlier in the day. Now, granted, different game, different matchups, X, Y, Z, all that taken into consideration. Fried was pitching a gem. He only gave up 4 hits. Now he walked 3 batters, which is it's not ideal. But like Scuba went into the eighth, Garrett Crochet went into the eighth, and it's the it amazes me as to why not just ride your guys if it's such a small sample size, like a 3-game series.
Yeah.
Like empty the
No,
tank.
you make a good point. Especially if your guy is hot, dude. Yesterday, I told you not to, go back to Scooble,
Yeah.
but I if I didn't tell you, I should have told you because I took his over and putouts of 18 and a half. It was at plus money, and my logic was I was like, okay, if this guy, if he's on, he's going 7. If he
Minimum.
regardless, he's going 7 if he's on. If he's not on, say he lets up 4 runs in the first or second or whatever, I think they ride him out anyway. Like, you're not going to destroy your bullpen. He's your best pitcher. Yeah, he may, but you allow your best pitcher to bounce
Figure it
back,
out.
right? Yeah,
It's the Phil Jackson thing as to why he would never call timeouts for, like, when he was on the Bulls or when he was coaching the Bulls or the Lakers. He's like, I'm not gonna call timeout. I'm not about to bail my players out. Y'all on the court, figure it out.
right.
And it amazes me as to it's not like he was just getting destroyed.
Right. Yeah, and two, I wanted to bring up a point because you said, in the ninth they had 3 singles. Now, and weren't even able to get someone in on a fly ball to right. Now, I didn't see this, but do you think it was finally the case of, man, our ballpark is too small and we're only hit, it's as far as they hit bombs in New York. Obviously their stadium is one of the smallest in the Major
Hmm.
League Baseball and all of Major League Baseball. But you don't have those opportunities for hitting in the gaps. You don't have the fielders can essentially keep everything in front of them and
Hmm.
cut things down in the gaps. And so having a smaller stadium can backfire at sometimes if you're not putting the ball over the fence. So, I wonder if that's a case of where, they couldn't get an extra base, or they couldn't run first to third, or they couldn't get second to home, or whatever the case. They're just playing station to station because it's so condensed
Yeah.
in your stadium that extra base hits are more rare than other places.
I think that's a great point ballpark wise. I think it also feeds into why the Tigers are so good at it. Like, you have a deep, wide
Yeah.
outfield to where, oh, it's a single. I can squeeze a double out of this because
Mhm.
whether it be not an error per se, but if a ball's hit into the gap and it's going, but your fielder makes a play on it about halfway towards the wall, there's still a deep throw to second.
Right. And what drives me crazy, and I know they're not playing there, but at Fenway, this drives me absolutely nuts.
Is it the wall?
When a guy will hit a ball off the green monster and it will be a single. I'm like, dude, this big ass fucking wall is out there, and you have to clear it. So if I were a Major League Baseball player and I hit it towards that wall, there's a good chance it's hitting that wall. So I'm busting my ass out of the batter's box to try to get the second. It is absolutely ridiculous that guys will like literally like get on first and they'll throw it second and they'll be like, dude, where were you? Like, what were you doing? Just staring at the ball when you launched it over there? I get if it's like a solid fucking line drive and it just smacks and it's hard and you hit it 100 miles an hour and, you know, it bounces right back to the fielder. But fuck, dude, if you hit a long fly ball and it hits the top of the wall and you don't make it to second, what the fuck were you doing? Were you picking your nose in the fucking, or you know, jerking off to your fucking uh hit, thinking it was a home run and thinking trying to celebrate and being like, well,
He's
you
aura
know,
farming.
dude, yeah, like,
Like
what the fuck, man?
it amazed, you know, it's so Anthony Volpe hit a home run to start the scoring in the second inning. It was a home run in 29 ballparks. The only ballpark that it wasn't a home run in was Fenway.
Yeah,
And it's so funny that that is one of the dimensions in baseball that really that home field advantage can really mean something, is that, oh, we have custom dimensions. That's why, example, if you are a left-handed batter, you could be you could be talked into going to Yankee due to,
yeah,
oh, it's my pull side.
yep. And you know, you mentioned Fenway too. So the last thing I want to say about Fenway is I think it's absolutely it's absolutely criminal and it's absolutely you know, bullshit and whatever else adjective you want to use, that they don't have a Torrey Hunter statue out in right center with him flipping over the into the dug or the bullpen. So they should put a bronze statue of his legs coming out of the bullpen
That would
when
be.
Poppy hit that fucking grand slam against the Tigers in like it was either ALCS or ALDS,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
still one of the more iconic. Like when I show people how hype, because you know baseball for the majority of a game, it's a boring sport. It's like not a lot of
Yeah,
action. But when I'm like, oh, y'all want to see some hype shit, and all you hear is Joe Buck, bases loaded, two out, boom, smack, hard hit at the wall, and then you know the whole crowd explodes,
yeah.
and it's just a tie game just like that. It really
Yeah,
makes.
I mean, they should have honestly gave him the Barry Bonds treatment and walked a run in. Like like at the time I was saying that, dude. I was like, dude, why are you pitching this guy? Just like one run doesn't matter. Just walk him in, dude.
I un
Face yeah.
I understand that was the first left-handed hitting home run that Joaquin Benoit had given up all year, but these big time players make big time plays, and these all time legendary great players, they'll find a way more
Yeah.
often than not.
And from what I can remember, I thought it was pretty much like a cookie right down the middle.
Right. Right.
Uh,
But yeah, I tip my cap to Garrett Crochet with his 11 Ks and 7 2/3 inning, and Aroldis Chapman once again giving up three straight singles and then finding a way to not give up a single run. And I've seen a crazy stat over the course of like the regular season of like he has gone, you know, X amount of innings. Because I think it was on like a crazy like 53, not literal inning streak, but it was like 48 straight batters without giving up like an earned run. And I was like, that's some crazy shit.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's the Cuban.
absolutely.
His nickname's what? The Cuban Missile.
Who?
Chapman.
I don't know.
He's
If he's got a nickname, I'm behind it.
Well, he's the Cuban
Uh,
Missile for a reason. Now to go to the late night game.
yeah, man. So there's a couple takeaways where you know, I turned it off when it was. I think I spoiled this at the beginning because you push play or push live, go live. You know, when we were just bullshitting and I'm in the middle of a sentence. But anyway, I turned this game off when it was 8-0. You know, the Dodgers came out and did Dodger things. You know, if it's not anointed already, we have to anoint you know, Shohei Ohtani is the best player on the world in the fucking world. this guy is so ridiculously good. Leading the game off with a home run against Hunter Green, probably off a 117-mile-an-hour fastball. The shit just doesn't phase him, dude. And it was funny because they mentioned his walk-up music was like Michael Bublé. So like it's that even if I'm a pitcher and someone's walking up, already pisses me off. And knowing that he's the best player in the fucking world, that pisses me off even more because he's not even listening to hype music, or he's just listening to something to calm him down. And like, okay, like I'm gonna listen to thinking of this and thinking of what he's doing. If I were a Major League Baseball player and I was Shohei Ohtani status, where you can't fuck with me. I think I would probably be walking up to like Beethoven and just being like, yeah, let that settle in. I'm calming my my inner Ness, and I'm about to give you 7 different kinds of smoke,
Dude.
just like Dupree, but so I am going up there calm, collected, and then I'm hitting the fucking bomb to lead off the game. The dude is unbelievable, and people need to start talking about Teoscar Hernandez as being a Mr. October, dude.
He's a
I
freak
mean,
too.
I believe it was last year he may have won the World Series MVP, or he was up.
It was
He
Freddie
had a
Freeman.
phenomenal October last year. He's continuing it this year with 2 home runs to start off the series. The guy is amazing, and I don't think he gets talked about enough. And he is probably the main or biggest reason that the Dodgers won the World Series last year. And it looks like he never stepped away from the month of October, or sorry, September and October, whatever you want to call it, the hunt for October and September. This guy is a legit clutch at bat, and he is a serious threat to taking it deep every time he's up there. And the big moment does not phase him. I know at one point, he made it 8-0, I think, with a 3-run homer, or something like that. But so the pressure was a little bit off, but you're still hitting bombs. Ohtani hit 2 bombs yesterday too. I think they had 5 home runs total, unless they hit more when I left. But yeah, dude, that offense, that
It's
team.
nuts.
Let's just buy World Series after World Series after World Series is.
To talk about how stacked this lineup is, Tommy Edman won the NLCS MVP last year, and he's your 6th hitter.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. And
I mean, you have Ohtani, you have Freeman, you have Mookie Betts, you have Teoscar Hernandez in your top 4 or 5.
Yeah,
it's Muncie's the other guy. That's I think your top 5 hitters. And then you have and you're like, okay, dude, like, who the fuck do I pitch to? You can't make a mistake in any of them.
Who do I pitch around? Because
right.
I can't walk Shohei, because his big fast ass is just as liable to steal as anybody else is in the league. But
people don't talk about protection enough in baseball. Protection's a real thing. You look at guys on shitty ass teams and bad lineups, and then you're like, oh man, like a certain player gets traded, and you're like, oh, he didn't want to be here. No, when a pitcher knows that he can just pitch around you, and there's no threat on either side of you in the lineup, and there's no really other threat in the lineup, you're going to be getting the pitcher's best stuff every time you're going up there. Or reverse, you're not going to get anything because you're just going to get pitched around. Like, Miguel Cabrera for years was the only dude in Detroit at points, and like, you're like, okay, he has no protection, so he's not seeing any good pitches at all, because they're like, why am I gonna pitch to this big behemoth when I can just strike out fucking Gerald Laird next at bat, or name your shitty past Tiger. By the way, Gerald Laird had how they put their pictures up on the scoreboard? He had one of the best pictures, because his face just looked like if I was looking this way and you're like, hey Bobby, and I was like, huh? That's how his fucking face looked. It was awesome.
That's hilarious. And to dive in just a little bit as to when you said Hunter Green's pitch to Shohei that got destroyed came in at like 400 miles an hour. It was 100.4, and Shohei hit it 117.7 off the bat. Like,
Yeah,
not
and
only does he go ahead.
Shohei's second home run went like 1,700 yards. It went like a mile. I think it might have went out of the stadium.
It
I didn't
went
even see it.
hit his second home run was 113.5 off the bat and was 454, and his first one was 375. But dude, it's not only when he touches baseballs, they die. Like
Yeah,
that ball had a family for real.
he's the Godzilla to these baseballs.
hmm And not to skip over someone else who also had an excellent night. Blake Snell
Yeah,
he was a
absolutely.
beast. He like I understand he didn't ruin his start because he still got a quality start because he didn't give up three. He gave up three or less. He gave up two in the seventh, and it didn't matter. It genuinely
Right.
didn't matter because he was another pitcher where he was untouchable most of the night. I know he got in a little bit of traction. It might have been the third, fourth inning where there was runners on like second and third with two outs, and guess what? Big strikeout, big moment. He does his little
Yeah.
flex thing that
What
he
was his
does.
pitch count at the end of the game?
His pitch count
Right, when he left, yeah.
91. He went through 7 innings, didn't even crack 95 pitches,
Yeah,
and
so
struck out
like
nine.
with a huge lead like that, I'm surprised they actually didn't let him go longer. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not like you're gonna let up 10 runs. I mean, knock on wood,
Yeah.
that's
It,
you're
it's
not throwing grapefruits after they're not going to be able to figure you out that much. So
yeah.
I'm actually surprised you didn't go into the ninth, or at least get through the eighth, and just have one guy,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to both. Obviously they didn't blow through their bullpen, but you have such a big lead that you don't even have to. You could just give them a rest,
Mm-hmm.
another day's rest, and gear up for today. But yeah, man,
That's
the
a good point.
Dodgers.
And with good.
Dodgers are looking like World Series contenders, man. I think both of us had them in the World Series. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you had Philly, or you had the Dodgers too.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Dodgers.
so
Yeah.
they're
Um,
it's tough out, man.
that's a great
Especially when, start getting their second, third, fourth pitchers. The Team Japan. You know,
like you go from Snell yesterday, and you have Yamamoto tonight, and it's like, huh?
yeah,
And that's a great point on Snell because over his last handful, I'm gonna go through his last five start pitch count wise in the regular season. In his last start, he went 6 innings, 95 pitches, 7 innings, 112, 6 innings, 104, and then five innings and 90 pitches. But yeah, it's like they really ramped him up, and it's so funny just based on his look. You would think he's like super old, but he's only 32 for a pitcher.
yeah,
And for a pitcher who he also missed like the entire first half of the year with the shoulder injury that he suffered in the first game.
yeah, and with him too, he's one of those guys that you mentioned. Excuse.
You good? You got a lot of phlegm.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good now. Now my
Right.
voice sounds normal.
There we
So
go.
you have a guy like him who's, you said he's 32, but he's been in the league forever. Like
Right.
it's like, all right, dude, this dude, it seems like he's been in the league for like 12 years, and you're like, holy shit, dude, he's only 32, and he's probably got anywhere from 4 to 6 years left,
Mhm.
maybe up to 8. But yeah, man, it's weird. I was actually thinking about this, yesterday, because someone in sports, maybe it was Monday, someone in sports, oh, maybe it was Joe Flacco I was watching. I don't know. But he's, 40 years old, and
Mhm.
I'm 38. So like I'm already older than most of the athletes, but in 2 years I'm gonna damn near be like I'm at like retirement age for an athlete. So most, 99% of the athletes that I'm gonna be watching are gonna be younger than me in 2 years. And
Yeah.
it's already like that. It's probably already 99%, but like I know 40 is like that, like, okay, retirement age for athletes,
Mhm.
especially like quarterbacks and shit like that. And it's gonna just make me sad.
Now, we've got like 10 more minutes, and I want to dive into some. We got the Thursday night game tomorrow, and I don't know if you saw, but it's. Don't you love it when a plan works out? Because you bring up Joe Flacco. What team does Joe
Yeah.
Flacco currently play for?
The Cleveland Indians.
The Cleveland Browns.
Yes, that's what I
Yes,
said.
and right. And I don't know if you
You
saw
combine.
this, but
Hey,
what?
what would you? What would just real quick? What would you get if a Cleveland Brown and a Washington Redskin had a baby?
Go ahead.
You get a Cleveland Indian, right?
I'm not gonna laugh. I'm not gonna laugh. So
All right.
there were reports yesterday that they're benching Joe Flacco for Dylan Gabriel. So
Yeah.
it looks like it's now Dylan Gabriel's time, like it was Jackson Dart's time last week. Do you have any like interest in, because obviously the narrative is, oh, Shedeur was, he's the more polarizing figure of the two. Do you expect, like, okay, if they go from Flacco to Gabriel, when will they go from Gabriel to Shedeur? Or do you think Gabriel is, solid enough to just write it out?
So Gabriel, is he the one that had the viral clip of him like in his training day or whatever, pro day, throwing
Next,
it like 17 feet behind the receiver?
no, no, that was Tyler.
With the new
No, that was Tyler Shaw or Shaw,
show?
Show.
Show?
The one,
Well, he in New Orleans, right?
yeah, the one the Saints took. Yeah,
Okay.
Dylan
All
Gabriel's
right.
the lefty out of Oregon last year.
Okay, so I would what I would do if I was Cleveland,
Hmm.
right? I would give like I would almost do every other start. Like at this point, like okay, like Shador, you're starting next week. This guy's starting this week. Well, like you're not gonna make the playoffs. Like you suck. Like let's just say what it is. Like you don't have a quarterback. You had five of them, and that means you don't have one.
Right.
And Flacco was obviously your best option, and you're going away from him already. Um, I don't think the Cleveland Browns are going to win many games. They have a great defense. I didn't realize that their defense was that good.
Hmm.
Um, but still, like they say defenses win championships, but you're not the 2000 Ravens. Um, so you know at this point, see what he's got. Like if you want to go for a couple weeks, but I would definitely split time between the two. Like
Yeah.
see what you got in both of them. Like
Hmm.
you're essentially throwing the season away anyway, going to a rookie week 4 or 5. New York did it with Jackson Dart, but like how many games is New York going to win with a rookie quarterback as well? Not everyone is Jaden Daniels. Not everyone's going to set the shit on fire. I mean, look at C.J. Stroud. He had a great rookie year, and now he's Dylan Gabriel. Because you're like, who? Yeah, exactly. You're not watching any of his highlights. So, yeah, to me, like, I mean, I would almost try something like that. You drafted two quarterbacks. You pull the Redskins move where you draft RG3 and Kirk Cousins in the same time,
Hmm.
and people are questioning it, whatever. But see what you got. Like, Shador essentially was kind of a steal in the draft for you,
Hmm.
essentially, because no one wanted to touch him. Um, but why not? Like, see, give them equal time, see what you got. You can move on from one after the year, or you can
Hmm.
know who your starter is, or have you can essentially have a preseason position battle in the regular season and when it matters with your starters and see who executes
Hmm.
and plays better.
Yeah, that's my thought process too. Is like, okay, Dylan Gabriel will probably get the next like month and a half, 5 6 weeks, and then they'll turn to Shador when they're 1-1 or 2 and whatever.
Yeah.
Like it it appalls me because these games for the Browns, they're going to be sneaky close because their defense is really good, but it is the open competition in the regular season too, because once
Yeah.
again, when you draft two quarterbacks in, I think they drafted Dylan Gabriel in like the fourth round and Shadur the fifth round. Like it was genuinely like almost back to back picks. Um,
Right.
so we'll see how all that stuff pans out. I like Gabriel. I do. I think he's a. I don't think he has the talent or intangibles enough to be like a high end starter, but he can
Hmm.
he can just be a solid backup. And I think
Yeah.
I think the same with Shadur. I think Shadur has the intangibles and accuracy to be an NFL starter, but it comes down to athleticism and there's a difference between the college speed, preseason speed, and NFL actual live game speed. So
Right.
we'll see what.
Acclimated to real time speed,
Hmm.
see how they handle pressure and stuff, and go from there. That's what I would do. And I think me and you are on the same page
Yeah,
with that. Like, you got to see
100%.
what you got on both of them. You're not gonna make the playoffs, and you know,
Yeah. Now
surprisingly, Steelers might win the division. Who knows?
we're gonna playoff.
Hopefully, it's close.
We're
Jake
gonna
Browning's take them to the playoffs.
We're gonna have playoff football in Pittsburgh. It's gonna be beautiful. Now, really quick, while we have like the last 5 minutes before, even if you want to do Nerfies,
I don't want to do
the
Nerfies for the playoffs. Nerfies are a regular season thing. Nerfies are gonna hit in the playoffs, dude. 2 out of 4 hit yesterday.
yeah, that's true.
Just bet on them.
Just,
Just bet on all the Nerfies.
just do it.
For real, dude. Like 2 of the 4 are at least gonna hit today.
Mhm.
Bet on all of them. Don't parlay them. If you want a little bonus, put a fourth of your money on a regular bet on a parlay of all 4 games, and you still got a shot. It's the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
Runs are usually at a premium, unless you're the Dodgers. So maybe avoid that game, but still, like, what's the odds of them scoring 2 first-run innings in a row?
I'll,
Let's
unless it's Shohei Ohtani. Now, once
yeah.
again, the last 5 minutes, we can do this really quickly. Niners are taking on the Rams in LA on Thursday. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, opinions, concerns, and who's gonna win?
So to me, the Niners are the one of the weirdest teams in football, like every
Yes.
year. Because I'm like, they're a West Coast team, so
Mhm.
obviously us East Coasters or Eastern Standard Timers, um, somewhat pay a little less attention to them. I think,
Mhm.
I think I'm not in the wrong or not crazy off scale of saying that. Um, even though football's a little different than like baseball, you're not watching 10 o'clock games.
Yeah.
But they're just weird to me. Like I'm like, how does this team keep winning? Like Christian McCaffrey is like every other year he's fucking like phenomenal. Um, Brock Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant. I still don't believe that he's a good quarterback. I think he's a decent game manager, but I'm like, dude, like I just don't know how they do the things they do, right? I don't pay attention to the 49ers enough to know. But I do know that unfortunately the Rams are pretty decent still. And I hate Matt Stafford as much as I do. When it's a kind of a
He froze. Mr. Kaboose, come back to us. That's unfortunate because he's frozen. Would he like to come back? I'm gonna send him a message and say that he needs to come back. Leave and come back. You have frozen. But yeah, the to kind of pick up on it, to kind of pick up where Caboose left. Oh, there it goes. He's back.
dude. I went on this rant. I don't know if you heard any of it.
All we
Um,
heard was, well, it's still kind of up in the.
dude. Okay, so like your face just went like this, and I'm like, dude, did he fall asleep? And then I like after
Dude,
like 30 seconds,
dude, did he fall asleep?
I'm like, shit, man, I didn't know I was that boring. But I was saying that, I don't pay attention to much of the San Francisco 49ers.
We heard that, and then you were like, well, the Rams are still like a solid team, but I hate Matt Stafford. But
Yeah, but I usually take, whoever's playing better quarterback play. So I would take the Rams minus the 3.5. I think they're 3.5 point favorites. Unfortunately, I fucking hate Matt Stafford, but he is playing, okay, and I would take him over Brock Purdy as far as if I needed a quarterback to win a game. So usually when it's a toss up for me, I take whoever's playing better at quarterback. Did you fall asleep
it's
this
so
time
fun.
because your eyes are down again and
No,
you're not moving?
I was looking,
Okay,
I was
all
looking
right.
because
Make
you.
sure, man. Just making sure.
I appreciate
Just
your
making sure.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the
Just
concern.
making sure.
The line's actually up to 6.5.
What for the Rams? Jesus Christ, man! I thought it was 3.5. Maybe I was looking at a different game, but fuck, it's six and a
Yeah,
half.
it
Yeah,
the Rams are currently 6.5 point favorites.
yeah. So because Christian McCaffrey's not playing, right?
No, he's playing.
Um.
I'll tell you.
Oh,
I, I'll
I think
tell.
who's got hurt.
I'll tell you. Everybody that's injured or that's questionable or not playing. Ricky Pearsall, knee. Brock Purdy, toe.
Yeah,
Jawan Jennings,
that's
ankle.
not funny.
Huh?
I said that he gets shot again, but that's not funny. But
That's not
like
funny.
I feel like someone's gonna say that every time he misses a game.
Oh,
I mean,
there's gonna be memes.
it's like that's such a crazy story. Like for a rookie, before he even takes a fucking snap,
Hmm.
he gets shot.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Ricky Pearsall, questionable with a knee. Brock Purdy was. I saw on Monday he was still complaining about his toe. Jawan Jennings ankle/ribs. George Kittle still on IR. Speaking of crazy stories, and this is how we can end it. Did you hear about Skylar Thompson when we played just then in Dublin?
So one quick question: who's the 49ers backup
Mac
quarterback?
Jones.
Hell yeah, I just won a Super Bowl with him in Madden. Dude, never mind. Take Mac Jones and the fucking 49ers and take the money line. Anyway, who the hell is Skylar Thompson?
So Skylar Thompson, he used to be a quarterback for the Dolphins a couple years ago. He's currently the backup. He's a career just he's backup quarterback, and he's currently the
Quarterback?
quarterback.
Quarterback.
Yeah, he be throw
Skylar Thompson.
he slings the rock, and
Never heard of this guy.
he's currently the Steelers' backup quarterback. When we were in Dublin, he got jumped and mugged and robbed like the night
Okay,
before
I
the
did see this story. I did see that
yeah,
story. Yeah.
and it's some crazy shit because it's like the NFL's first game in Dublin, and he gets jumped, mugged, and robbed, and I'm like, my guy. I mean, he's fine physically and all this stuff, but it's still just a crazy. I wouldn't even call it like a coinky dink, but it's just like did the first game in Dublin, and we already got players getting robbed.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit, man.
It's funny.
But yeah,
Hmm.
thank you for joining us here, dude. This was a great baseball episode,
It was
man. I
great.
really enjoyed talking,
Hmm.
baseball playoffs here today. We might have more Friday, I'm not sure, or football might be taking over, or we might be just throwing some random shit together.
I
Um,
mean, by then we will know the matchups for the next round because the wild card will end on Thursday.
are you sure about that?
Yeah, because game one was yesterday, game two is today, and game twos are today. And
Usually
if
in three, give them a day.
well,
So are you sure about that?
according to the schedule I saw, it's consecutive days, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, all right.
So yeah.
I don't doubt it, but like usually I think in the past they had like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they if it would go to a game three, they give them a day off and play it Friday. But
Mm.
yeah, if you've seen the schedule, I'm not going to argue with you. But yeah, so we could be talking a lot of baseball on Friday too. But anyway, thank you for joining us here at the Legends Clubhouse. From presented by New Leaf News on their YouTube channel. Go check us out. We're live on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. I will actually be via satellite. As the wrestling community used to do, when they used to do promos via satellite, I will be on Friday, so I will be on remote location, which will be awesome. But go check us out at newleafnews.com/network. Both of them take you to the same great site. We have daily content, whether it's sports, gaming, horoscope, murder shit, politics, entertainment. You name it, we got it. Go check us out over there. We have a team of phenomenal writers, and we're growing by the day. So make sure you support the cause. Go follow us on all our social medias, whether it's here on YouTube, X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, TikTok. If you got one of those social medias or all of them, go follow us, and we would appreciate the support. Even with our show, if you have a topic like we don't always talk about sports, and I actually would like to get off of sports at some point.
Right.
Not totally, like certain shows we haven't had a different show in a while. So if you have anything that a topic that you guys want us to discuss, let us know. DM us, do whatever. Um, But if you also like podcasts, if you know are a little you know, you're all caught up with the Legends Clubhouse on our 69th episode or so.
70.
Um
I
ooh,
just saw that.
big 70. Favorite number 70 of all time?
I don't have one. I just saw that